Good evening and welcome to another edition of Am Abel Foundation's Medicine Makers here on CAN TV. And our mission with Am Abel and Medicine Makers is if your career is in medicine, you have a wish to have a career in medicine, our goal is to help you get there. So a few housekeeping things before we start today. I am Dr. Toyin Adeyemi. I am one of the mentors and board members for Am Abel Foundation. And we have an exciting show for you today. I have an extremely accomplished guest, a medical student here, who's going to be talking to us about a variety of things, who I will introduce later. For our audience at home, you can call us. You can call into the show at 312-738-1060. The number is on the screen. You can also stream us live on cantv.org/hotline, or you can follow us on CAN TV Cable Access Channel Network 21 or Channel 99. Again, this program is brought to you by Am Abel Foundation. You can find our information on iamable.org. And important to let you know that for our young high school and college students who are interested in being part of our program, that you can find our information on the iamable.org website. And we have applications open until March 1st. Until March 4th, a couple of weeks from now, we have applications open for our Urban Bridges medical mentoring program. So we'll talk a little bit about this at the end of the program again. Please join us and follow us on iamable.org. And today, we have a very special guest working with us today, who I'm pleased to introduce, Orrianne Morrison, who is a medical student, a first-year medical student at Rush, and she will have plenty of time to talk to you about her very compelling story, very exciting, accomplished young woman here. A little bit about Orrianne. She has her bachelor's in biology from Spelman from 2012, and since then she's done a whole bunch of things. Has worked as a CNA, certified nursing assistant, went on to do a lot of research, eventually finished her master's from Georgetown. And then this young lady went on and got to work with the National Cancer Institute, the NCI, got to work with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and through all of this, giving back to the community, doing impressive research, including the field of HIV, which is my passion as an infectious disease doctor, and then is now currently a second-year medical student at Rush Medical College here in Chicago. So we're really fortunate to have gotten you all the way from Georgia, where you did a lot of work, and then the DC area, doing a lot of things with the FDA, and then to Chicago for medical school. And I got to meet you as part of the Am Abel Foundation. So welcome, Orrianne.
Thank you.
Now the show is all about you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here and to share my journey from, early in Atlanta all the way up till the present. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
So for the audience here, I talked a lot about her accomplishments, her scientific accomplishments, her degrees, all of that, but really share with us kind of your journey to medicine, and some of the things we really want to highlight, especially because you are an awardee for our organization for Still Standing, which we'll talk about a little bit.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was raised by a single parent along with my two siblings. And she was very young when she had us. Our mother was 21 by the time she had the three of us. So it wasn't always easy for her raising us and being able to have access to resources for three children. So we definitely saw our fair share of struggles, including at times not having our own place to live and having to cope with those things. And it really was something that brought our family closer together and allowed us to really see the strength of our mother and inspired us to want to write our own stories.
Wow.
And so early on, my brother and I were very aware. My sister was a little younger, but my brother and I were very aware of the challenges our mother was facing. And we wondered, what can we do to make our lives different? And will this be what our lives will be like when we are adults? And we realized that we have the power to be the authors of our own story and really determine the trajectory of our own lives. And the way that we wanted to do that was through our education. So we became very, very serious about school, and eventually were both placed in honors classes, probably by about middle school. And we continued on that path until we graduated, both with honors. And he went on to attend Georgia Tech, and I went to attend Spelman College, and we became the first college graduates in our families.
Oh my gosh. So already, without even going to that next phase, you give us such a lot of inspiration for people listening out there about very powerful things, about being the authors of your own story.
Yes.
And looking at where you are, but looking at the trajectory and defining what that needed to be and the impact of education and
Absolutely.
that will. So tell us more. So after college and then your path to how we got to meet you here at Rush as a medical student.
Absolutely. So the path to college, just a lot of hard work and just a lot of focus. And then actually once I arrived at Spelman, I actually went to school for one semester before I had to take a leave of absence because there was a bill that I could not afford to pay. And so that was kind of something that kept revisiting, those financial challenges, but I was determined to get my degree and to, get the education that I knew I needed to have a different type of life. So I began working as a nurse aide, and I did that actually from that second semester until I finished college and a little bit after. But so I did that and eventually learned about scholarships and became more open about my struggles once I returned to school. And that really opened a lot of doors for me because, one, it helped people to kind of just see how badly I wanted to graduate, how badly I wanted my education, but also when opportunities came across my mentors' desks, they would reach out to me and let me know. And that really made a tremendous difference in the rest of my education at Spelman. So once I graduated Spelman, I taught middle school for a couple of years.
Wow.
And that was an opportunity for me to get on my feet and kind of establish myself as an adult because after everything, I wasn't sure, what was out there for me or if I could do it. So I kind of wanted to, get steady on my feet and also give back to my community. So I, took an opportunity as a middle grade teacher in McDonough, Georgia. And that was an amazing opportunity, and really, I learned about a lot of the stories and struggles of my students, as well as it was an opportunity for me to be inspired by them as well. So that was phenomenal. After 2 years, though, I wanted to get on with that dream, of becoming a physician. I did that. It was very fulfilling to give back, but I knew that I had my eye on a goal, and that was what I wanted to continue working towards. So I applied to this phenomenal program at Georgetown University, and I did a one-year master's in physiology, and that opened more doors for me.
Yeah.
I was able to eventually go on and do an internship at the National Institutes of Health.
Yep.
And then after that, I received an opportunity or pursued an opportunity at the Food and Drug Administration doing HIV research, which I did for 2 years before applying to medical school.
Wow. So, right there we could unpackage a lot of things. You talked about giving back, being open about your struggles. Because sometimes, we talk about, closed mouth don't get fed, and being open about your struggle. It's hard sometimes to share what's going on, especially if everything kind of looks on the outside like everything's great, and it's hard to pull apart and say these are the struggles. But being the maturity to understand that, if I need help, and if I need help, I need to ask for help and let people know that I need help. You brought up the importance of mentorship and how mentors were important in your goal, which is one of the big tenets of this program. Absolutely. Is to create mentorships that people may not have steady access to. And some people are not able to seek out mentors, and the program is a way to build inbuilt mentorship for people who may not know how to seek out mentors, who have opportunities to have mentors in their lives. And you also brought up, even though you were teaching and giving back and inspiring these young minds, you still had your goal that you still wanted to do. Absolutely. And a lot of people sometimes, because now you're earning money, right? You're a teacher, you maybe had a pension, you had a retirement plan, and then you're going to say, I'm going to go back to school. I start paying more money again. Mm-hmm. But that's the importance of kind of sticking to your goal and knowing what you wanted.
Absolutely.
Those were really, really powerful. So you said, that was the goal. So when did you know you wanted to be a doctor? And how early did you know that?
So I always had a heart for other people, and I was always concerned for the welfare of other people, whether it's my brother or my sister, any family, anyone. But around middle school, I realized I also was very interested and gifted in math and science. And so my teachers kind of recognized that in me maybe before I did, I think. And they put me in these advanced classes, and that, really helped to fuel my passion for science. But I would say, for a long time, I was like, if you would ask me as a child what I wanted to be, I would say a doctor. For sure. I want to be a doctor.
So as far back as you can remember. Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was a nurse aide and I was sitting with people, hearing their stories, actually feeling the joy of being able to make a small difference in someone's life, that I actually knew for sure that this is my purpose.
Wow, that is great. So you mentioned, with a big smile on your face, a lot of challenges along the way.
Yes.
So it's clear you're a very smart woman and a woman who's goal-driven. But through all of that, you had to deal with, you said sometimes, funds running out, having to work full-time when you're in school, sometimes not having a steady place to stay even as a young person. How do you think those challenges and barriers to kind of the smooth ride kind of positioned you for who you are now in terms of wanting to give back and the kind of physician you want to be?
Well, it definitely made me much more compassionate and understanding of the journeys of other people. And from those experiences, I realized that when you look at a person, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, and there are so many more things that they might be contending with under the surface.
Yes.
And so I think that really just helps me to have an open mind about people and just be very service-oriented, because it's my goal to pay it forward. There were so many people who were there for me along the way, and those many different obstacles I had to face, and I would like to be that for someone else. And so whether it's in the capacity of a doctor or a mentor or a teacher or just a listening ear, that's what I would like to do for other people.
So it's very clear for anyone listening now, right, that this woman is a force to be reckoned with. And those of us who are part of the leadership of Am Abel cannot wait to see your career and what you're going to do for your community, because it's very clear that your heart is in the right place, you have the abilities to do it, and you want to give back. So I have a question in terms of, you are our fourth, still standing award nominee. And for those who don't know, this is an award that the Am Abel Foundation gives out every year, highly competitive process, to someone who demonstrates resilience and still pursues their path towards medicine. And you can see clearly why you were an awardee for that. How did you find out about Am Abel? Because that's how we got to meet you. How did you find out about the organization? And the second part of my question is, how do you think the program has, what have you gotten out of the program for people who are thinking about getting into the program, or how, what can they get out of it? So how did you find out about the program, and what have you gotten out of it?
So I'm the former Student National Medical Association's Rush Chapter Mentorship Chair. And when I joined SNMA, I knew I wanted to play a hand in mentorship, and so I pursued that opportunity. And the previous chair helped me brainstorm about opportunities or things that I might want to do, and he mentioned the Am Abel Foundation.
Wow.
So I went to the website and read Dr. Conway's story, and I was blown away.
Yes, everyone is when they hear it. And I've listened many times, and I've heard it in person, and every single time. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And, after reading that, I knew that was something, this organization was something I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so with that, I reached out to Dr. Conway, and, the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've talked about the importance of mentorship. You've brought that up a couple of times now. How have you, because sometimes people think of mentorship as a one-way, the mentor kind of guiding the mentee, but you as a mentee, what is your role as somebody who's working with a mentor in terms of how you, what are some of the things you do with them, or to show your appreciation or to give back and things like that?
Well, my mentors, especially like Dr. Conway, they're people who I really look up to, and usually, there's always something that I admire about them, and so I look for ways to help them, or however I can be of service to them in carrying out their goals, as well as, gleaning from their knowledge and learning from them.
That's really, really good. And then, so in terms of some of the things that have happened in terms of your career and where you are now in med school, so you've done patient care stuff when you were a nursing assistant, while you're working, and going through medical school. So that kind of prepares you for the patient-facing part of medical school. So what are some of the things in terms of your interests as you go more into your medical career? What areas of medicine are you interested in? Do you have an idea yet?
Absolutely. Well, because of my experience working with seniors, I'm very interested in geriatrics.
Yes.
So I love working with seniors, and I really do have a passion for them, and also just helping voice their concerns, and just overall just being an advocate. And I'm also interested in women's health. There's an issue with maternal and infant mortality among minority populations, and I really like to gain a further understanding of the root of that issue. And of course, I love children. So those are the three areas I'm really thinking about right now.
That's great. And we love it when a medical, so it's always great when you have the experience, some kind of experience before coming in. But the beauty of your training and medical school is the exposure to so many different things until you find something. These are all areas that are really, really important as the population in the United States ages.
Yes.
And having really great, I can't remember what the numbers are, but the number of trained geriatricians for the population is really minimal. Unlike other specialties that seem to be really saturated, we don't have enough people trained in geriatrics for a population that's aging, right?
Yes.
And aging till, many, many decades. So that's a really important part. Women's health, you touched on the issues, especially in communities of color. I mean, the disparities in outcomes
Absolutely.
are still so wide. So to have someone with an interest, who has a community at heart, who has a research background, has a master's, so you can look at the science in it, and you can look at the art part of it, and
Absolutely.
just look at where the problems are and be part of the solution. And that's what the I'm Able, we're looking at physicians who are compassionate and who give back to the community. So that's really great. So what are some of the things, other challenges or barriers that you've seen or noticed in people who are getting care? So you're not necessarily seeing a lot of patients now in your medical school, but as when you worked as a CNA, some of the barriers that affect adherence and stuff, and how do you think we can address some of those?
Well, definitely working on, in general, access is an issue.
Yes.
Right? And then we have the issue of quality of care. Quality in one community, the quality of care in one community may not be the same in another community. So we definitely have to get to the root of why that is and try to develop some solutions around that. But really, one solution that might work that has been there's been a lot of talk about is universal health care. And so that could be a solution to really address the access issue. But even then, there are a lot of systemic issues that will still stop a lot of people, because it doesn't stop with just being able to get to the doctor, but you have other issues in life, a lot of institutional barriers that are stopping a lot of people from being able to achieve optimal health. And so we really have to look at it from an overall social justice approach.
Of which you have some experience.
Yes.
Through that in.
Exactly. So it's really, there are a lot of things that we need to work on as a society in terms of equity, and but definitely universal health care is a first step. It's a big step in addressing a lot of the disparities and inequity that we see in health.
Great. And training, providers who
Absolutely.
are part of the community and giving back to the community, which is great, So that's really awesome. One of the things we wanted to talk about also is in terms of, for you as somebody who has faced all of these challenges and barriers, and there might be people thinking, okay, you know what, there's this big organization, they do all this stuff, but well, I have this issue, I don't know if I can do it. What are some of the things you would say for somebody who's in high school now, college, who's thinking about a career in medicine, and it's just kind of like, I don't know how to, there are too many things that I need to do to be able to do this. What are some of the things you would advise them in terms of never giving up and just going for it?
Absolutely. I would say to stay focused, and remember, do not put limits on what you can do.
Wow.
A lot of what we accomplish is a direct consequence of what we believe we can accomplish. And so I would say keep your mind open and know that you can do anything. And once you set your mind on something, don't give up. Stay the course, stay encouraged. And yeah, just really that believing yourself will take you a long way.
Wow. You, very impressive. So one of the things, thank you so much for that answer, because you talk about the importance of keeping your mind open, never giving up, staying focused, which is why you were an excellent nominee and definitely the awardee for that Still Standing Award. Because regardless of all the barriers that were put in place or were in place, you found ways around them, and not just going through those doors, but exceeding expectation and then reaching back to keep the door open for the next people and mentoring people. So that's a really important part of the whole process, to be able to give back, but also to be able to get to that next level and exceed that expectation that was set and keep going.
Exactly.
Yes. So how, sometimes people, this is a question because you're a second year medical student. During the process of the exams and all that stuff and the interviews, then people, if they're fortunate enough to have more than one option in terms of a medical school, what goes into the decision-making process and what went into your process while we were able to get you into Chicago? Because you were in the D.C. area, you had a lot of history in Georgia and in the D.C. area, and then we're fortunate to get you in Chicago. So what was in that decision-making process to choose a place for medical school for you?
I think an important factor for me was being at an institution that values what I value. And a big thing at Rush is community service, so that was definitely a big thing for me. I also wanted to be someplace where I would be comfortable, because I'm going to be at this school for a number of years, and I'm going to get the education, but I need to be happy. And I knew that Rush would be a place where I could have a kind of family feel, and it has diversity, and it's in the city. So I knew there would be so many opportunities available to me at Rush. And so it just seemed like the right fit. And after I interviewed at Rush, my heart just stayed with Rush as I continued to go to other schools. I kind of carried that warm and fuzzy feeling Rush gave me with me along the way.
And one of the things with the mentees in this program is that they do come to all the events. I've seen you now at a couple, and it's great because for people who are thinking about coming on, and some of the mentees who've graduated and moved on into different things still come back and give back and help the new people coming on and talk to them on the phone and things like that. So that's going to be a part of that, not just being a mentee in the program, but being a mentor to others. And that's something that you've done already significantly. So were there any other things you'd like to share about your story that you think will resonate with somebody who's in medical school, somebody who's thinking about medical school, somebody who's faced some challenges and is not necessarily sure about where to go? Are there other things that you would like to share about your story?
Yeah, if I could share or tell students kind of going through this process, one thing, it would be, you're not alone. There, and it's possible. You just have to believe that you can do it. And when you make up your mind to do it, just go forward and don't look back. And,
Yeah. Those are powerful words. I'm writing all this stuff down because I want to make a t-shirt with all your sayings and wear it. Just different things. Stay focused, keeping your mind open, don't give up. They seem like, but those are real things, the positive things that you speak to yourself about.
Exactly.
Kind of keep going. And I know that you've talked about mentors, and this is an organization, in addition to all the other programs that we do and trainings and CPR and certifications, the mentoring program, the Urban Bridges Medical Mentoring Program is important. So from your end, what are things that the mentors in your life at different stages have done in terms of what the role of a mentor is in terms of?
I would say my mentors have really helped me to believe in myself. I think there are times in life when we can't see ourselves clearly, whether that be things that we're really great at or things that we're not so great at and maybe we want to work on. My mentors were there to really kind of hold up a mirror to me and help me to see my own potential.
Wow.
And they also just really encouraged and inspired me. I mean, these are all people who are in places with qualities that I admire so much. And just having those people to show me what is possible. And I think a lot of people or a lot of students who don't have mentors oftentimes don't have that opportunity to see themselves in someone else.
Yeah.
So I think all of my mentors played an incredible role in just giving me hope and confidence and that guidance I need to just know that it's okay to just put one foot in front of the other and that I can do anything.
And you have, in a very short time, accomplished a lot of things. So while we're kind of wrapping up and thinking about some of the other parting words, I would like our audience to, for a minute, we're going to go on the website to show the I Am Able website. And this is the iamable.org. It's a website where you can go in and iamabel.org. Right on the site, it has the foundation, it has a contact list. You can subscribe so you can keep up with the things that are going on. It has a 2019-2020 calendar with a list of events, and it really does talk about the mentoring program, which we can get into. And so that is the, we're wrapping up at this time. Would like people to go into iamable.org and then we will thank Dr. Orrianne Morrison for being a guest on our show, for sharing your powerful story, your story of resilience and just going through the process. We wish you all the best in medical school, and we know that you're going to do great things in the organization.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.